God's sake. Hello and good evening. Sorry, I haven't plugged in the microphone. I even forgot because I've been a little preoccupied, but it's hardly a surprise, is it, given that the situation I'm in. There we are. Anyway, hello and good evening. I hope you can hear me. And thank you for your participation. I'm just not quite with it because I've had a bit of a stressful time for the last hour or so. Anyway, there we are. And anyway, we won't talk about that. I'm not really interested in talking about that. I wish to talk to you about what you wish to talk about. And hello and good evening to you all. So good evening to every one of you. You can hear me. Well, cheers to you and cheers to me and cheers to me if we disagree. So anyway, thank you very much for turning up. There's 30 of you already within seconds. So I'm sorry if I arrived a little late. Well, it has been a little bit of a stressful time. So, but anyway, it doesn't really matter to talk about that. So we won't be talking about that. Anyway, never mind. Another day, another disaster. That seems to be the way of the world for me these days. But there we go. Yes. So let's talk about something positive. Let's have a positive conversation. I don't want to talk about negativity. I want to talk about something good. So yes, if any of you are here with something good to talk about, there's more and more of you coming in. So yes, welcome to you all. Right, okay. If you have a few questions, please ask me them now. So otherwise, I'll give some pontification on some weird subjects or other once you get me going. So, and of course, you can have a quiz. So yeah, there we go. I'm very sorry we haven't had regular episodes in recent days because of the situation, but the situation is, well, you know, the situation. So, but we did have a good episode last night, I did think. But prior to that, obviously, you know, a few problematic issues. So there we are. Right. Carol's question I won't be answering because I think it's not wise with somebody else. There we are. Did I go out for lunch today? No, I cooked a lunch. I cooked a roast chicken and we had a lovely friend round for lunch because our other friends were sadly indisposed because their child had to go to the emergency room, which is a terrible thing. And I hope that the child is making a full recovery. And, you know, the child had broken its arm falling off a ski lift. So previously, and I don't know what had happened to it this time, but the child seems to be a little bit naughty, to say the least. But they sent a lovely message to say they were very sorry they could not come. And, you know, other people who we know weren't available. But one of our lovely friends, a man called Falcon, came along. And he is so helpful. And he actually really does. He's a great friend, and he's a great friend to me. So in spite of other people, you know, not turning up, which was a great shame. But these things happen. This gentleman, Falcon, came along and we had a wonderful lunch of prawn cocktail, roast chicken, a bit of strawberry thing, and then some cheese. So, you know, nobody can say I don't put together a good lunch party. But and a little lady called Marguerite or Marguerite or whatever her name is, she came along also for a bit of the dessert. So she enjoyed that. But yes, there we go. So good morning to Leslie S. from California and to Wits End, who loves a prawn cocktail. Well, I love a prawn cocktail, but my big problem here is I couldn't find a bottle of sherry. And a prawn cocktail is never complete without sherry. I do feel I really am disappointed not to be able to put sherry in a prawn cocktail because my friend Peter from La Brasserie, South Kensington, always put, and my friends at the the restaurant in Broadstairs, the Jetty, always puts sherry in their prawn cocktail, and my friend at Bellamy's always puts sherry. We have to have a bit of sherry, and I didn't have sherry. And you can't really put white wine in a prawn cocktail. It doesn't kind of work. It doesn't, or rosé. It wouldn't make. It doesn't have the same kind of kick. You can't put whiskey. Well, you could, but it might be a bit strong. But I'm having a whiskey mac tonight. For a change, I thought a bit of whiskey with a bit of Schweppes, because the children were coming today, and I thought, well, they might like ginger ale. So I thought, well, I saw this ginger ale, and I thought, well, the children might like ginger ale. But I'm now, since they didn't come, having whiskey and ginger ale. You like prawns and prosecco, yes. As they said yesterday on the wonderful kitchen cabinet with Jay Rayner. Prawns cooked in prosecco. It's the best use for prosecco, isn't it? Really, I'm not really a prosecco drinker, so use it for cooking. Why not? Absolutely fabulous. You like sherry in your trifle? Oh well, Veronica. Well, a sherry trifle. I haven't had one of those in years, but my grandmother used to make a very mean sherry trifles. So there we are. Chili prawns. Am I a fan? Yes, I like chili with anything. Yes, chili is a good thing. You like beef with red wine? Yes, that's a good thing. You like Yorkshire tea, says Linz. Yes, Yorkshire tea is a great kind of tea. And I normally have 2 tea bags and brew for exactly 4 minutes. That is my policy. When I make it for a certain other person here, she doesn't want anything more than like 30 seconds and wants loads of sugar. But I could not drink that. That'd be like dishwater to me. But I have 4 minutes of brewing time, and it's strong, and then I have a second cup. So, I love a strong cup of Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire tea like tea used to be, as they say. Absolutely fabulous. I'm not into PG tips. No, I think PG tips is a bit like sawdust to me, so it's not for me. But each to their own. And if you like PG tips, I think that's absolutely fabulous. You like Waitrose tea. Okay, well, Waitrose tea could be for you. So there we are. PG tips tastes funny, says Leslie. I agree with Leslie, yes. Right, next question. Any more questions on a different topic? Well, we've done tea. Right. You like Lancashire tea? I've never had Lancashire tea. I don't know where. I've never seen it. I've never seen it advertised. So Lancashire tea is not a tea for me. So even though I did grow up in Lancashire mostly, I've never had Lancashire tea. I'd like to try it. Never seen it. Never heard of it. First time I've ever heard of it. Right. Yes. Will I get a rest soon? Yes. Will I need a rest? That's definitely true. You like lotus and orange flower tea? Okay. Well, that sounds a bit exotic. I do like exotic teas now and again, but not very often. I'm more of a Yorkshire tea kind of person. But I don't mind a bit of Darjeeling in the afternoon, or Earl Grey or something like that. Yes, herbal tea. I do like herbal tea. Yes, herbal tea is a good thing. I like chamomile tea. Yes, I do love chamomile tea. It's very good for you. There are lots of kinds of tea I love, but you have to get it from the right supplier, because some are better than others, aren't they, in all cases? Right. You prefer Lady Grey? Yes, well, that's a nice tea as well. I don't mind that. Do I ever dunk a biscuit? No, I don't do dunking biscuits. No, that's not my kind of thing. Right. Okay. So, right. Okay. Next question. Let's move on. Why was Meghan's father not permitted to give her away at the wedding? Because Meghan decided she didn't want her father at the wedding. Samantha, the sister, is a lovely lady, and I've never spoken with her father, but the poor man should have been allowed the dignity, and they should have put him on a private plane. Even if he was ill, he could have been brought to the wedding. This whole thing was a charade, and it was all down to the drip Prince Harry, who is a complete piece of disgrace. He is the most revolting little rat on the planet, and he should keep his mouth closed for the rest of history. He is a bad, bad person. I can't stand Prince Harry. Yes. Have I ever been shark fishing? No, I've never been shark fishing. I wouldn't wish to do such a thing. I don't think it's right to go fishing for a shark. I don't think that's very kind. So no, I wouldn't want to do that. But if you wish to do that, that's your choice. But I don't think it's a very nice thing to do myself. So I'm not a fan of shark fishing. There we are. Nobody as low as Barrymore in the rat department. Totally agree with you. Michael Barrymore is a complete rat. Yes, totally agree. Right. You like King Charles, but both his children are drips. Well, I disagree with you, Mr. Lee Kicker, on William, but I don't disagree with you on Prince Harry. Totally agree there. What do I think about Julia being locked up? It's made a year. Well, Julia is not Madeleine McCann, as we all know. So let's be honest. Fake Madeleine is not. Julia is not Madeleine McCann. We will all see this exposed in the court case in due course. So the silly little fool will be exposed for what she is. Okay, right. You love Prince William, says Dawn. Okay, well, you're entitled to that view. I think Prince William is doing a perfectly good job, but I don't personally love Prince William, but that would be a bit odd if I did. Right. You agree with me regarding Julia, says Robert. Okay, yes. Well, Julia, or whatever she's called on a Sunday, because today's Sunday, is exactly that. Yes, you've heard that Meghan took a photo of Harry's bottom, and yes, well, she did. You could see a little bit of his bum. That wasn't very. It's a little bit of a strange thing to put out on the internet. There we go. Very odd. Right. Did I watch the F1 Grand Prix today? No, I didn't. Who won the F1 Grand Prix today? I'd love to know. It'd be very fascinating. So please tell me, was it Lando Norris or was it another person? I don't know. Who won? I haven't looked at the news yet, so I don't know. I'd love to know who won the F1 Grand Prix. It's like you asking me a quiz question, which I cannot answer because I have no access to the information because I'm talking to you. When I'm talking to you, I can't look at other information on my computer, and I don't have my other computer, and I don't know how to use this computer very well, and I need to get back to my life and have a real computer and have everything back again. That's what I really want. No, Piastri wins the Spanish GP as Verstappen was penalised, says Matt Grant. Okay, there we go. Got the information. So we are also an information channel here in front of us. And there's over 100 and something of you here now. So here we are. Right. Did I hear about the incident in Leicester, I believe, yesterday? No, I didn't know. What happened in Leicester yesterday? I heard about the incidents in Ukraine and all the rest with the trains and all the rest. What was for lunch today? Well, it was prawn cocktail, followed by roast chicken, followed by a strawberry tart, followed by cheese. So there you go. That was the course of action for that. It took me quite a few hours to prepare, and anyway, well, the result was somewhat chaotic, to be honest. But there we are. Yes. What kind of cheese was served? blue cheese, cheese with chili cheese. I like chili cheese, and some plain old, cheddar-like cheese, and some. But they were all from a very nice market in the Gard Freinet, um, and some other things as well. So lots of things. But there you are. Anyway, am I a good cook? I don't think so. I'm just an average. I try, but I'm not particularly a master of anything. I just try and do whatever I can. There we are. Yes, you're fed up of Ukraine and bugger Zelensky, says Paulie Gaultier. Um, I'm not a fan of this Zelensky myself. I don't think that this war it should go on any further, but I don't like Putin either. Putin is an evil man, and he's a monster, and he's disgusting. So, I don't like him, and I don't like the other one. Right. What is chili cheese? It's cheese with a bit of chili in it. Yeah, that's what it is. Yes. So there we go. It's very nice to have a little bit of that. And yes, right, there we are. Right, it's all going to kick off big time, says Wits End. Yes. Will Prince William be able to, I assume you're bringing Prince William, be able to bring about real change? Well, his father's doing very well thus far. I think his father is fabulous. And I think Queen Camilla is also fabulous. She is one of the most lovely ladies, and she's encouraging people to read. And I think that's great. So I like her and I like him. So, and I think his son, William, will be a very good king. And I think Catherine is the Princess of Wales is a lovely lady also. They seem to both be doing a very good job. They're very diligent and they work hard and they are positive. They add to the future of the world, all of them. We have had great things there, but we haven't had great things from obviously Prince Andrew and Fergie, and they should go away. They need to be sent to Siberia. And the sooner that the family decide to really send them away, in the way of Edward VIII, the Duke of Windsor, send them away. Get rid of them and get rid of the daughters as well. The whole lot of them should go. That family need to go. They are toxic. They add nothing to the monarchy. They are not. They are just a bunch of grifters, so they must go. So it's time for that. Some of you can't stand Camilla. Some of you love Camilla. Okay, I understand that. But yep, I'm getting all your messages. You like King Charles because he's a lefty like you. I like King Charles because he talks a lot of sense about organic farming. He talks a lot of sense about architecture. He talks a lot of sense about lots of things. He doesn't get everything right, but nor do we all, any of us, on any day of the week. Sometimes we all make a mistake each day of the week. Of course we do. So please be forgiving. Right, okay. How do you feel Meghan and Harry will handle William being king? Will he be even more bothersome to the royal family? Most probably, yes. He'll be more bothersome because that's all he is. He's just a bothersome bore. Yes, the bothersome bore, the drip. He's absolutely appalling. Jane O'Keefe can't stand Fergie. I agree with you. Right, okay. You're being very nasty about Camilla, Enigma, but I won't repeat your comment because I don't like it. So there we go. You're entitled to your view, but Biscuitec says the ginger troublemaker. I assume you're referring to Fergie or Prince Harry, either one of the two. Vazi Nadu says King Charles is a well-learned person. Well, I agree. Have I ever met Prince Albert of Monaco? No, I've never met Prince Albert of Monaco, and I don't have any desire to. He seems like a very strange person, but I'm sure he could be quite pleasant. But I have no desire to meet him. I don't really wish to, but I don't think he has any desire to meet me either. So the feeling's probably mutual. So there we go. We'll leave it at that. Right. You gather here for true news. It's great to see you back. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Right, okay. Have we any other questions on any other topics? Let's move on from the royal family. I think we've done enough royal family for one evening. I think it's time to talk about something else. We're 20 minutes into this program, and there's quite a lot of you coming in. Fabulous to have you all here. Right, okay. So time for another topic. Have I ever met Claudia Winkleman? No, I've never met Claudia Winkleman. Don't know her, but I do know who she is, but I never met her. Right. William Evans likes the royals. Well, that's very nice. I like the royals too. I think the royal family is a fabulous thing. I think it adds huge things to the British nation. And I think it's an absolutely fabulous thing. And I think King Charles and Queen Camilla are superb people. And I think Prince William and his wife are also superb people. And Princess Anne and Prince Edward and his wife, but not Prince Andrew, and not Prince Harry, and not their wives. They are very, 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 very bad people, especially the wives in both cases. So there we are. Right. Right. Okay. I don't know. What do I think of Russell Brand? Well, I believe Russell Brand has entered a not guilty plea. I can't say more than that because I haven't read any of the news, but I don't know if anything further is. He will be tried at a later date. So he's entered a not guilty plea. So I don't know what else I can add to the story other than to say, why was he sending messages to one of the victims saying, "I'm sorry"? That's a very strange thing to say to somebody. Yes, I'll leave it at that. And why did he suddenly find a religion? The finding of religion by Russell Brand is something that is utterly, typical of these kind of people. It's like this P. Diddy. It's they all find, something. They find God. They find a bus ticket, whatever they find. Russell Brand is a revolting, horrible, cynical, evil little rat. There's nothing nice to say about him. And his dog killed a wallaby. I will not forgive him for the dog killing the wallaby. That's where I'm angry with him. I also think it's wrong that he made those reprehensible phone calls to that poor grandfather about his granddaughter. But the dog killing the wallaby, he was hailed as a hero because he stopped the dog killing the thing in the pouch, the young wallaby. I can't remember what you call it. A young seagull is called a fledgling, and a young hare is called it begins with an legate, and he stopped the dog killing that. But he allowed the dog to kill the actual wallaby. So the wallaby didn't have a mother anymore. So that was the end of that. That does not make him a hero. It makes him a complete prat. Just like that woman whose dog killed the seal in the River Thames, the solicitor, very rich solicitor, and her dog went wild and killed the seal. And then she started suing everybody who dared call her out. Well, she didn't do very well with that, did she? Because, quite frankly, everybody supported the seal, they didn't support the nasty woman. So let's speak out against nasty, nasty people. There are a lot of nasty people in the world, and I don't like them. So there we go. Thank you very much to Deanne Daly, who has given me a gift of $1.99. The Queen and Missing Children in Canada. Right. Well, I know what you're talking about, Deanne, but I don't agree with the story. The old Queen never went to have a picnic, and that's just a load of conspiracy theory nonsense. But thank you for your £1.99 donation for me to talk about it. But there was a conspiracy theorist in Broadstairs. He was called Conspiracy Jeff. He was an absolutely reprehensible person, and he made this story. I'm not going to repeat it because it's completely ridiculous. The Queen did not go to a picnic and of this type. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But thank you for your £1.99 so that I can dispute your conspiracy claim. But there we go. But Deanne, thank you. You are a lovely person, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to fall for that conspiracy, okay? Thank you. And the next question. Okay, how's the sloth petition coming along? I don't know. I haven't looked. I'll have to have a look, and I'll update you tomorrow or the next day or whenever, when we have a next talk. But I will talk about the sloths. But it was over 700 when I last looked, so it may be a lot more. I don't know. I can have a quick look now, but I don't have my computer, do I? So that's the problem. Okay, let me have a look at sloth. I don't know if I can do this because unfortunately I don't have my passwords on this computer. I need a new computer and I'm waiting for it. Right, okay, let me have a look. Oh, no, we're doing quite well. We're up to 960. We're nearly at 1,000. So, yes, please keep sharing. Thank you very much. We're at 961 signatures on the sloth petition. So if we can get to 1,000, then it gets elevated to another level. So we only need another... I'm totally useless with mathematics. I think that means 39. I could be wrong. I'm probably completely wrong because I'm numerically dyslexic. I cannot do a single number. I do words, but not number. I do think, am I correct or not? Or am I talking in riddles? I think it's 39. I need 39 more. So please get 39 more of us this evening. If you haven't signed our petition, right, okay, I'm going to try and copy the link if I can. But on this computer, it is very complicated to do anything because it's a French keyboard. Right, I'm sending, I think I've just sent it. Yes, I think I've sent it. Right, if you haven't signed the petition to ban the keeping of sloths as pets in the United Kingdom right now, please sign. I've just given you the link. It would be very much appreciated because once it goes over 1,000, then they start another level of promotion of it. So we're in, I thought it was about 600. No, well, I haven't looked in a while. I just hadn't looked because I don't have my own computer. So it's very hard. I can't look at any of my information or my own data or my own documents. I can't look at a single thing. So I can't even get my own passwords. It's ridiculous until I get a new computer because it all has to be, the data has to be transferred. So I'm waiting in limbo and, well, my life is in limbo and it has been for months. And it's a little bit difficult having a life in limbo. But there we are. Yeah, Apple has all my passwords. Yep, but I don't know how to get into that either. I pay for it, but I don't know how to get into. I don't know how it works, and I haven't got a computer technician here, so it's a little bit difficult. Right. Thank you, Dawn Jackson, who's just signed. Well done, Dawn. Well done. Dawn, you're a star. Dawn, please share it with your friends. Let's get as many of your friends, Dawn, to sign up. Once we get it over 1,000, we get it to another level. And then it accelerates, and then it'll soon be at 5,000. My other one was well over 50,000 when I last looked. And some of my other ones have been successful, and we've had people close down. So we've achieved things. So Sophia Maria Grace has signed and shared. Thank you. You're a star. Expialidocious has just shared it on their Facebook page. Right. Okay. Yeah. Enigma thinks it's awful. Right. Okay. Deanne will share it out. Okay. Thank you. Daisy, thank you. Thank you, and to everyone. Okay, thank you to all of you sharing and signing the petition on the sloths. You've got the link. I'll share it again in a moment in case you haven't got it. Let's put it in again. Right, how do I do this? There we are. I think that's how it works. Oh, that works. Well done. So keep signing and sharing the petition. I want to get to 1,000 before the end of the week. Let's get to the 1,000 mark before the end of the week. Let's stop the people like Tamara Eccleston having sloths as party animals. Sloths are animals that belong in the Amazonian rainforest. Leave them alone. They should be left in solitary confinement where they belong. They don't belong with people. So we don't care about any of this nonsense. We want the sloth to be left where it belongs, not being touched by people. And I've tried to help an animal today, a fledgling seagull. I did help feed it for a couple of hours, and I gave it some milk and things. Because the poor thing had obviously fallen off the chimney and its mother had rejected it. But you're not allowed to touch these things. And, the advice of silly people who say, put it in a box and give it some newspaper. No, never do that. You mustn't do that. You must not have anything connected with humans touching it. It must never be touched, because the seagull will smell the human on it, and then it will kill it. So you must never, ever physically touch the bird, and you must never create something that you have created, because otherwise then it becomes dependent on you. So I did not want to do that. And I gave it the milk and the bread and the bit of ham and left it. If I'd had some dog food, which is what the RSPCA recommends to give, that would have been better. Mushy old, they like mushy food, these poor fledglings. They can't fly. They can't get out of the water once they're in the water. They are struggling around. And anyway, I tried to help it. I did my best. So I don't know where it is now. Maybe it'll come back later, but I somehow doubt it. I think it escaped and it got off somewhere. But now it'll probably be pestering somebody else. So anyway, I did try, but you must not touch the bird. Never, ever touch birds. Never touch a hare or a rabbit or anything. If you see it, leave it the food, but do not touch it. Ever. And don't bring it as some kind of thing it can go into, because then it will be in danger, because then the other birds will attack it. So you mustn't do that. It's a very, very bad thing to do. Never, ever, 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 ever create nests and stupid things for it, because then the animal is, it's your responsibility. It'll have to come and live with you forevermore, because it has no relationship with its fellow animals. So leave it alone. do not do that. But you can feed it, but try and feed it mush in the case of the fledgling. I learned because I've done some research this morning, and yesterday morning when I found another one. And the other one was killed. I'm sure of it because it went into the water, and these silly people picked it up and they threw it in the water. So the other birds attacked it. And I've never seen such a horrific sight as this poor bird being attacked. It wasn't, I understand nature is nature and, things happen. But if those silly people hadn't picked it up and thrown it in the water, that bird would probably still be alive. So they're stupid morons. They're absolute village bucks. So I didn't like that. I was very upset by it. So when I saw another one wandering around in the road this morning, I chased it and around until it came into the house, and it went through the house into the garden, and then it went through the hedge into our neighbour's garden, which is like a prison because it's got walls on both sides. It stayed there for quite a while, and I fed it. So at least it's been fed. If it survives, it survives. I can't do any more than that. I tried. And it did like the milk, and it did like the bread. So that was for sure true. So it had a lovely time there, and then it went to sleep for a little while behind the plant pot, and then I don't know what happened to it because the next time I went to look, it had gone. So I don't know how it had escaped. And I had told somebody to keep an eye on watching out for it, but they didn't bother. So I don't know how it got out because it can't have got out any other way than the way it came in. So, I don't know where it went. And it's a bit unfortunate that the person who was meant to watch didn't watch. So that was a bit sad. So I don't know what became of it, but maybe I'll see it tomorrow. Who knows? It could turn up. But I don't know. But I try and help nature whenever I can because I think nature is a fabulous thing. And I care more about animals than I do about people because most people are bloody ghastly. Let's be honest. Animals are far better things than us. They care more than humans. Humans can be very nasty things. So I love animals more than I love humans in most cases. And, I think the Earl of Cadogan, okay, my friend is Jenny Chelsea, who was the wife of the awful Earl of Cadogan, who said this, but he said, I prefer horses to people. Well, I tend to agree with him, actually. I think he was right in that regard. Dawn saved a mouse from her cat yesterday. Well, the mouse might have invaded your house, but that's nice of you to stop the cat killing the mouse. But yes, right. Okay. Right. Any more questions on a different topic, perhaps? That's maybe time to move on from this topic. Do I like Chris Packham? No, I don't like Chris Packham. And I don't like what he's done with his horrible trailers invading places and being a nuisance. He's a total pest, isn't he? So now I'm not a great fan of Chris Packham. No. Horrible man. Awful. I'm not to feed birds avocados, bread, caffeine, chocolate, cookies, dried beans, fats, garlic, honey, milk. Oh, gosh. David has quite a list. What's my opinion of the TV show Doc Martin? I don't have an opinion of the show because I've never watched it, so I don't know. Can't talk about that one. Right. Okay. What do I think of Prince Harry changing his name to Spencer? I don't know. I don't believe he has, but has he? Don't know. Do I like David Attenborough? I think David Attenborough has added a amount of joy to the world. He is a lovely, delightful man. So yes, we should celebrate David Attenborough, a great man. Right. Fish fingers. Yes, I love fish fingers. I wish I could have some right now. I'd love some fish fingers. I always love fish fingers. It doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. I could have fish fingers. I love the things. With a Marie Rose sauce, just like I have with my prawn cocktail. Right, okay. You love fish fingers, chips, and beans. Well, that's another way of having them, but I like a fish finger sandwich myself. What do I think of Fred Dinenage? He's a little bit over-opinionated, I would say, and his daughter is not a liking. But yeah, he made some very interesting programs over the years, and he should be saluted for that. So I'll say there's a 50-50 on Fred Dinenage, 50-50. What do I think of David Beckham? Not my kind of person, but look, he's a big achiever. He's achieved a lot in his life, so we should celebrate his achievements, but it doesn't mean I have to like him. So no, I don't like him, but I don't think he is the worst person in the world, but he definitely should not be given an honor because of his tax evasion. People who evade taxes should be dealt with. You know, we all pay our taxes, and he doesn't. So let's be honest. That's why he shouldn't have an honor. No honor for David Beckham. That's where I feel. The tax evaders should not be allowed, you know, disgraceful people. You know, all the way through all of these situations we've all been through, people pay taxes, and he thinks the taxes are for the little people. So no, he doesn't deserve an honor, does he? Have I met David Wilson? Are you talking of David Wilson, as in Wilson Broccoli? Yes, I do know David Wilson, who is part of the Broccoli family. James Bond, yes, I do know him, but I don't know what other David Wilson you're talking about. But yeah, I did know him many years ago, but I haven't seen him in many years. But he's part of the Broccoli family who made James Bond and all of that. So yeah. His wife, his ex-wife, I believe now, Annabelle, I knew her as well. So, yeah, I did know them. What about Paul Daniels and his sidekick, the bird, as you call her? Well, I didn't know Paul Daniels, but I do think that Debbie McGee is a complete piece of trash. She's not a nice lady. Don't like her. She's not my kind of person. I believe my friend Christine Hamilton is very friendly with her, but I don't like her. Not for me. She's another Gloria Hunniford. She's another Cilla Black. She's of that type. The three of them should have got a room. Okay. Who will be the next James Bond? I don't know. Maybe Henry Cavill? I don't know. There's a speculation. There's my guess. Henry Cavill, I would suggest. Right. Oh, poor Debbie. What do I think about Carol Vorderman? I used to like Carol Vorderman and thought she made a lot of sensible remarks, but then she went a bit mad. She's gone a bit too far, has Carol Vorderman. I've gone off Carol Vorderman, so no, I'm not a fan of Carol Vorderman anymore. She was quite right about Michelle Mone, but then she got carried away. So no, I'm not a fan of Carol Vorderman anymore. Gone off Carol Vorderman. You can change your mind, and I'm giving an example where I've changed my mind. I don't like Carol Vorderman. There you are. She's too woke. Yes, precisely. She's a woke pest. Don't like woke. I don't like woke people. I like J.K. Rowling. I think J.K. Rowling speaks a huge amount of sense. I'm with J.K. Rowling. I'm not with Carol Vorderman. No. Carol Vorderman, you've gone off the boil. I don't know why you went so wrong, but you lost the plot. Totally lost the plot, did Carol Vorderman. She used to speak a lot of sense, and I quite liked her. She was clever, intelligent, added something to the story, anti-Brexit, which I agreed with, and then she just got too carried away with it. And then she thought, I'm going to go all woke. Carol, wake up and smell the coffee, you crazy woman. You lost the plot. Don't like you anymore. So no, I'm not a fan of Carol Vorderman, no. Right. Would I like to have ever done Gogglebox? Well, I was asked to do Gogglebox, but nobody was available to do it with me who was suitable. They wanted me, but they didn't have anyone to do it with me. And I would have loved to have done the Gogglebox because I think I could have had a lot of fun on it. And maybe in the future I still could because they still keep in contact with me, to the producers. But I don't have anybody suitable to do Gogglebox with me. That's the problem, because it involves a huge commitment. You have to give a lot of hours of your life, and none of my friends and family or whatever can do what they want, because you literally have to be able to sit in a room for a certain number of hours a week watching these TV shows. And I don't have anybody capable of doing it, or the ones that are capable of doing it, they have all sorts of problems that stop them doing it. So I can't do the program, unfortunately, at the moment, until I find somebody who would be suitable to do the program with me. And then I'd have to be able to sit in a house somewhere in England that would be, it's like 6 hours a week for 6 months, basically. That's the sort of level of commitment. And most people can't do that, because most people I know, they travel a lot and they just don't want to do it. So, or they can't do it, or their wife, husband, daughter, in one case, the one they really wanted, the daughter was the roadblock. And what a shame, because it would be fun to do the program. I would enjoy doing that program, I think, because I did the test with about 6 people, and it's the same test. So you sit there and they bring up, a program about Nigel Farage banging on about politics. They bring up Coronation Street or whatever it is that they make you watch. They bring up a sports program. They bring up a debate or whatever, a cooking program and a gardening program, say. And they test your reactions against the program with the person that you're sitting there with, and how you react with one another. And it was a fascinating process because I did it 6 times. And I have to say, I would have loved to have done that program, but sadly, it couldn't work out because the people I did it with, they were just not suitable, because the ones they wanted changed their minds because they realized they could not commit. So it was very hard for me, because I would have loved to have done that TV show, and it's a shame, but it didn't work out. But we've kept in touch, the producers and I, and they've always said, well, we might want you on another program. But at the moment, I'm working on potentially another program, which I want to do with, I'm not going to say what it's about because I don't want to curse it. But I've got another program on a big topic. that I'd like to do, and I still like to do my talk TV things occasionally when they have me on there. But I need to be back in England to do those, so it's about time I was back there to do that. But they invite me when they want me, so let's see what happens. And I like doing all sorts of other things. So spice is the variety of life, as they say, and that's what I like. So there we are. Anyway, right. Have I ever taken part in a drinking game? No, I don't do drinking games. I like drink, but I don't like drinking games. No, I don't play drinking games. That's a silly thing to do. Not a wise idea. Right, okay. If you want to do that yourself, that's up to you. But I don't wish to do drinking games, so no. But I will have another drink. So cheers to you, and I hope your drinking game goes very well. Right, okay. Right. Okay, next question. Right, any more questions? Let's have some more questions. You'd like to take a swig every time we say a bog off. Well, many people should be told to bog off in this planet. Angela Rayner, Rachel Reeves, Queen of Thebes, Keir Starmer, the Farmer Harmer. There's loads of them out there who need to bog off. That's just the Labour Party. Kemi Badenoch, she needs a bog off. Nigel Farage, as in garage, he needs a bog off. That ghastly Richard Tice, who's not very enticing. I could think of many people who need to bog off. That's just politicians. So, God, I could give you a whole list of the baby Stockholm. There we are. So, have I ever met Angela Rippon? Yes, I have met Angela Rippon. I can't say I'm a fan of her either. I think she's another Gloria Hunniford, ingloriously bad. She's just Angela Ripoff, I would say she is. Not my kind of person. She's never Anthea Turner. I can't stand Turner. I can't stand Cundy. And that ghastly Eamon Holmes, I can't stand him. He's awful. Poor Ruth Langsford. I feel sorry for Ruth Langsford. I think Ruth Langsford is a nice woman. I think she's been badly wronged, poor Ruth. And also the other one who's been badly wronged, of course, is the lovely, lovely lady, Lorraine Kelly. I'm a big supporter of Lorraine Kelly because she's one of the nicest people you could ever meet. And it's disgraceful that Richard Madeley is forcing her off the air. And I don't like that. And I love Lorraine Kelly. So I think Lorraine Kelly deserves justice. Justice for Lorraine Kelly. It's a bit like the Coronation Street campaign all those years ago. What was her name? There was some woman with big glasses. What was her name? Denise or something? No, I've got it wrong. What was her name? Oh, Deanne's back again. Would I consider going on Come Dine With Me with a £1.99? Every time you give me a £1.99. Thank you, Deanne. That's very nice that you give me £1.99. But to go on Come Dine With Me, I would not go on Come Dine With Me for £1.99. No. But thank you. A celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. So I don't think they would have me on the program in the first place. I'm not famous, so there we are. I have done a few infamous things, but I would not be going on Celebrity Come Dine With Me because they wouldn't have me. So, but thank you, Deanne, for your £1.99. So you've given me nearly £4 today. So that's very kind of you, Deanne. Very generous. I don't know why. Deanne, you're very generous. But I would say that No, it's totally disgusting that Lorraine Kelly is being driven off the television. Don't like it. I'm a big supporter of our Lorraine. The Gorbals gobbledygook is fabulous. I think I've told you this story before, but when I went to the Mamma Mia premiere, I was walking down the red carpet and um, Lorraine greeted me. And she went, "Hello, Matthew." And I didn't know why she remembered me, but she remembered me. This lady has a memory like a genius. She remembers everybody on television and everybody everywhere. And she was so welcoming. And that was so nice. And I had my arm in a sling, and all these silly people were trying to get me to sign autographs, which was very odd because I'm not famous. I don't know who they thought I was. Sometimes I get confused with somebody, and I do find that very odd because I don't know who I look like. In the past, people said it was Hugh Grant, and then somebody else said it was somebody else, and then somebody else said I look like Oscar Wilde. Well, if I look like Oscar Wilde, well, I'd be in a coffin, wouldn't I? So it can't be that. So I never quite get what the confusion is. I was stopped by some Russian people in a street once in Knightsbridge, and they went, "Sign, sign," and I was like, I didn't know what they wanted, so I just did. I've never worked that one out, so I don't know who I look like. I'm not a lookalikey, but according to some of them, it's Hugh Grant. I don't know why, because I don't look anything like him, and I don't want to look like him. I certainly don't want to be like him, because I find him a very strange man. But there we are. I look like George W. Okay, you thought I was George W. Well, then I look like I'm very old. Well, okay. That's very nice. Thanks. Okay, I don't think I quite look like George W. quite yet. No. You thought I'm Jeremy Clarkson. I don't look anything like Jeremy Clarkson. That's ridiculous. Right. Right. You look like Martin Lewis. No, I don't want to look like him. No. Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, as I walked down this little thing, I chatted with the lovely Lorraine. And, my sister always says, my sister went to university in Glasgow and she loved Glasgow. And of course, Lorraine is from Glasgow also, as is Michelle Moan and, others. And Lorraine is the queen of the gobbledygooks. The Gorbals gobbledygooks, because that's the way she speaks. Her language she's toned it down for telly, but her language is a little bit confusing. So I sat next to the film premiere of Mamma Mia, a man who happened to be the owner of the film company. And he said, because she was asked to be the introducer. So she introduced everybody as the film started and the thing came on the stage and blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Can you tell me what language is that woman speaking in?" And he couldn't understand a word she was saying because that's the queen of the Gorbals gobbledygook. And that is part of the charm of Lorraine Kelly. Lorraine Kelly adds something to the world because she's different. She's not Anthea Turner, who is, Princess Tippy Toes and boring. Lorraine is a bit of fun. She adds a bit of spice to life. And that is why I like our Lorraine. Lorraine, you're lovely. You are one of the best. You're best of the rest. And we don't want you removed from our telly. We want Richard Madeley taken off the telly box. Richard Madeley needs to go. We've had enough of, the man who hates elephants. The man who said all elephants are born evil. Are you serious? Keep him on the telly over Lorraine? Lorraine is a lovely, lovely lady. And I am passionately supporting Lorraine Kelly because Lorraine is a lovely lady. Madeley is a monstrous man. He is awful. He is vile. He's disgusting. He went up to Bill Clinton and he said, I understand your problem. You were accused of something, but I was actually innocent. And he said, well, what were you innocent of? And he said, well, I didn't actually do shoplifting. The champagne lifter? Cheers to that. The man who's married to the disgusting Judy, the revolting Judy, the drunk. She's a disgusting, awful woman. There's such awful people out there. There's those two. Always upsetting people wherever they go. The pair of them are toe rags, whereas Lorraine is lovely. Lorraine is a lovely lady. And that is who I support in the world. So there we are. Yeah. Right. Richard is nicking wine. Right. Okay. Do I support Professor David Starkey? No, I certainly don't. Professor David Starkey is an awful, awful person. Another awful person. My father doesn't like Professor David Starkey either, so no, we certainly don't like him. Awful man. Right, okay, next one. Right. You like his historical shows. Well, yes, but he's a bigoted racist, and I don't like bigotry, and I don't like racism. So he's disgusting, and he's a fake. And his father was a cobbler in Kendal. Nothing wrong with that, but he pretends that he's from some grand aristocratic family. He's not. He's not. Do I support Boy George? Now, if you really want to upset me, bring up Boy George. My friend was physically assaulted by Boy George. He was chained to a radiator, and Boy George tried to physically assault him. Boy George went to prison for what he did to him. So don't even bring that up. Boy George is a monster. He's evil. He's revolting. He's a piece of shit. I can't stand Boy George because he assaulted my friend. My Norwegian friend was assaulted by him. He chained him to a radiator and tried to do something to him with a sex toy. The man is completely insane. And he should not be allowed on the BBC. He should not be allowed back. He has been to prison. He deserves his prison sentence. He's a revolting, disgusting, reprehensible stain on humanity. I don't like Boy George. And anyone who supports Boy George, get off my channel. Get out of my pub, as Lady Barbara Windsor would have said. Get out of my pub. That's the way I would respond to that, because my friend was a victim of his, and the damage it did to his life was not pleasant. And he comes from a very respectable Norwegian family, and he ended up chained to a radiator by this mad Boy George. It was a very evil thing, and Boy George was sent to prison. So my friend was telling the truth. He was not lying. And I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he wants this whole thing dragged up again. But Boy George, I don't know why you're bringing up that little rat, but he's a piece of filth, scum. He's another Barrymore. He belongs in the loony bin. Don't defend Boy George. And don't mention Boy George here ever again, because Boy George is an evil, vile man who was sent to prison for chaining up an innocent young man who did nothing wrong. And, he was sent to prison for it. So he got the sentence he deserved. I can't remember what the sentence was, but it was not, it was quite long. It wasn't that short. And he deserves it. He's another Gary Glitter. He's another pest. Another sex pest. Leave people alone. Don't go around abusing people. Horrible, horrible people. Yes. Right. Karma will get him. Yes. Put him in the sin bin. I agree. Please support my friend. But yes, I agree. But I don't want my friend's name mentioned because he doesn't need it. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He's moved on. He's gone back to Norway and he's got a new quiet life. And he's had enough of all of this. He didn't like it when Boy George did that silly BBC program, which he shouldn't have been allowed to do. Yes, handcuffing people to a radiator. Well, that's what he did. Sorry. He was convicted of it. He's a convicted criminal. So Boy George is a disgusting person. I have many friends who happily party with Boy George. There's this very smart person who comes down here. I'm not going to say his name either because I don't want to drag him into it, but he happily goes to parties with him. This person who's a big socialite and he's always here, there, and everywhere. He was at a party the other day with Boy George, and I felt like writing a letter to him saying, "Excuse me, you do realize who you're hanging out with," but I didn't. Anyway, I should have done, because Boy George should never be accepted back into civilized society. He's just as bad as Gary Glitter, Jimmy Savile, and all the rest of them. He's a disgusting person. They are filthy, rotten toe rags. If you go around abusing people in that way, chaining people to radiators and, sexually assaulting people, what is wrong with you? There's something. And as for you, Jim Davidson, the apologist Jim Davidson, that filthy comedian, great friend of Gary Glitter, who goes to visit him in prison, you're even worse because you go to visit a paedophile in prison. That's horrible. You're mentally unhinged. Don't like him. Okay. Jonathan King. Oh, yeah, he's still whinging on about how he's innocent. Oh, yeah, I see his website from time to time. He's not innocent. He's a revolting. He was convicted as a paedophile. He hasn't been cleared, and he continues to claim he's innocent. So he's another lying piece of shit, isn't he? If you go around abusing children, what's wrong with you? You are mentally ill. And he looks like a frog. He's got that mouth. It's horrible. He's a horrible, evil man, and he will never admit that he didn't do it. And he served his time. He's not done anything since that we know of yet, if he has done anything since, but maybe he's decided to be a reformed man and he's totally innocent and he's Mr. Nice Guy now. But he was convicted and his appeal attempts have failed. So he is a convicted paedophile. Let's be honest. Jonathan King is a paedophile. Let's leave the truth where the truth lies. The truth lies with Jonathan King, paedophile. He claims he's Mr. Innocent. But he never got cleared, did he? So put a sock in it, you stupid old wazzock. I could say a lot worse. I could use a word. It makes me so angry to hear of these vile people who abuse people, thinking they can get away with it and carry on. You know, like that Rolf Harris. He turned around and called the women the woodworms, the woodworm women. And he sang a song about them. Some of them were 13 years old when he did what he did to them. Sick. And that stupid daughter is still going on about it. You know, there's many of these families where you have these mad, weird children who are just awful, just as awful as their awful parents. She is just as awful because she's profiteering from it. Shame on her. Shame on all of these people. I campaign for the victims of abuse. I stand up for the victims of abuse, and I don't like people who attack the innocent. And that is a bad thing that these people do. But you literally live in this world, and you wake up in the morning and you hear all this nonsense, and you lose the will to live. Because these people just talk such rubbish. Everybody, you know, defends these mad people until they die. So once they die, you watch. There's a couple of them out there who are ready to go. And it will end very badly with a couple of these people. So there we are. So, right, you'd like to hear my affair on Lord Lucan. Well, my friend is Lady Lucan, the new Lady Lucan, and I think the whole matter should be left in peace, to be honest. But the old Lord Lucan, I believe this is not anything I've ever had a conversation with her about. So please don't put it down as me speaking about him or her. And her husband. Her husband, of course, is the new Lord Lucan. Don't put this down as me being anything other than this is nothing to do with them. I will say, I believe he probably killed himself. He probably just jumped off the back of the ferry. I think that's probably what happened. But I don't know. I know as much as you know. I know nothing. So I think it's better I don't say any more about that case. The Channel 4 program recently was a disgrace. They treated that poor old man very badly. That poor old man was not Lord Lucan, and they humiliated him and made a fool of him, and they should pay him compensation. In my view, I think it was disgraceful the way they treated him, and I did not like that program. So that's my view on that. As for Lady Lucan, the mad Veronica, I met her only once, and I thought she was a complete nutcase. I didn't like her one bit. I could see craziness in that woman, and I didn't like her. And I found her very unappealing character. But that's just my personal opinion. I just didn't like the lady. I thought she was a nasty, nasty lady. And I found her very angry and bitter. And there was something a bit warped of mind about her. I didn't trust her. I wouldn't trust her with a barge pole. So I don't know if I would believe a word that came out of her mouth. If I had been a detective in that case, I would have taken one look at her the way I met her. Now, maybe she was different at an earlier stage, because obviously I wasn't alive when all of this occurred. But if I had met her as a detective, I would have said, this woman is not to be trusted. The words coming out of her mouth are not true. So that's how I feel about the case. George, the son, who is obviously now Lord Lucan, who is married to my friend, Well, he's a quiet man. He's just a quiet man. Nice man. Very pleasant. Had a very lovely lunch with him, shooting party in Berkshire or Wiltshire or somewhere, and with his wife. And his wife is a delight, and she's my friend, and I like her. And yeah, I think that they need to be able to allow to be move on, because the story has had to move on. Life moves on. Lord Lucan will not be found. Lord Lucan is dead. Stop banging on about a story that is dead. Why don't we start going on? Just as I say about Madeleine McCann, why don't we try and solve a story that can be solved? Let's solve the stories that can be solved. That is what matters in the world. Let's solve the real solvable stories. We don't need to bang on about dead stories. So there we go. Okay, right, next question. I think enough about them because I don't want to delve any further into that for tonight. Right, you can't stand Paddy McGuinness. Okay, well, I don't really know much about Paddy McGuinness, so I can't really answer your question. You think Maddie is dead? Yes, well, I tend to agree with you. Right, okay, next question. Hello from Toronto. Hello to Toronto. Right. George comes across as a nice chap, says Robert Tideman. Yes, well, George is a nice chap, and so is his lovely wife, and they're good friends, and I like them very much. Decent people. And it's good to have decent people in the world, because I need to find a few more decent people in the world, because I'm running out of decent people. Lots of my friends have died in the most recent weeks, and things bad have happened. So I need some more decent people in my life, don't I? I need to top them up. So there we go. Am I a fan of Elvis or the Beatles? I don't like Elvis and I don't like the Beatles, to be honest. Neither. They're not for me. Now I like Coldplay. I like Travis. I like the Killers. I like Mendelssohn. I like Beethoven. I like all sorts of things, but I wouldn't put those at the top. I like Eminem. I love Eminem, who was on I love that. I love him. I love his Stan. I think that's great. What else do I love? I love a mixture of things. Gosh, I love all sorts of music, but no, they don't really excite me. Just because they're pop, everybody has to say, "Oh, I love the Beatles because it's popular," or "I love Elvis because he's popular." But no, I don't do popular. Not my thing. So just not for me. I don't mind it. I think the Beatles can be lovely at times. Elvis, I find a bit irritating, to be honest. And I certainly don't like Cilla Black, and I certainly loathe that awful Cliff Richard. He is the worst. He's the very worst on the entire planet of every musician. I would say is the musician I would have buried under the patio would be Cliff Richard. And then the second one would be Cilla Black. I can't stand Cilla Black. The two of them are the worst. They're the very worst people on the planet, those two. I love many other artists. Enya. I love Enya. I think Enya is a superb artist. You know, who else? Gosh, I've got to think of. I'm really not good on music. I'm not a good. Music isn't my forte. I'm crime. So I'm thinking, which other musicians do I love? Musicians. Gosh, it's very hard. Barrington Falung, of course, who wrote the music for Inspector Morse. I love Barrington Falung. In fact, he is my very, 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 very favorite, because I think the way he wrote the music that went with the stories, he guided the stories with the music. What a wonderful thing to create. That is creativity at its best. I love things like that. I love Edward Elgar. I love Elgar's music. I love Mozart. I have many Mozart things I love. I love Bach, Sebastian Bach. I love, that's the classical ones. But I love the Coldplay, as I've already said, I think. I love Eminem. I love the Wu-Tang Clan, because I got to know the Wu-Tang Clan very well. I think the Wu-Tang Clan are superb. And, you would never expect me to be in with the Wu-Tang Clan, because we're not exactly the same kind of people. But we became friends, and that was a nice thing. I don't know who else. Travis, I like them. I like all sorts of music. It's a mixture. I like to mix it up. I like a mixture. I like, I can listen. Robbie Williams. I think, Robbie Williams is Love My Life. That's been my latest thing to keep me going, because my life has been a bit depressing at the moment. So I play this every morning to try and cheer myself up. So I play that just to cheer myself up. So I like that. When you're depressed, and I am depressed, and I admit I'm depressed, I play things like to cheer myself up. I like the Mumford & Sons, Wilder Mind. I love that. That cheers me up as well. At the moment, I play the same tunes on repeat to try and cheer myself up. This is what I do. It's my way of getting myself out of depression, because I am depressed. And I will admit that I have depression, because life is just, overwhelming. So yes, I do like certain kinds of music, and certain kinds of music can help you at certain times, and you just play it on repeat, and it helps you. In my case, it does. I play the same music on repeat, and I love Coldplay, and I love a bit of rock and roll from time to time. I love a bit of The Who. I love all sorts of things. So, you mix the music up. I've got all kinds of music on my playlist. I'm a bit of a magpie, I suppose. I just go for everything. But I love everything. But I need an escape from time to time, and music does help me, because it cheers your soul. And then I listen to the Archers, and that really cheers me up. And the Archers helps. I love the Archers. I love listening to it, even if it makes me cross, because half the episodes, it's like stupid stories. But I love listening to it, and that gives me happiness. And you have certain programs that give you a bit of heart. And that's what I need in my life, is a bit of cheerfulness, because cheerfulness gets taken away from you. And when you're drained, you need a bit of oomph. And that's where I get it. I get it from these kind of things. So there we go. Okay, yeah. You like Pink Floyd? Okay, I like Pink Floyd. They're great. They're fabulous. Am I into Sir Tom Jones? No, I'm not into Sir John. I find him a bit whiny. Not really for me, but he's okay. But it's not my kind of thing. Just not for me. We can't all like the same thing. Do I like Engelbert Humperdinck? No. Do I like ABBA? Well, I've enjoyed ABBA's music, and I know some of the people involved in ABBA. So, I've spent time with some of them, and yeah, it's okay, but it's not. It's a bit whimsical, but it's all right. It's harmless. I don't mind it. Do I like Terry Draper from Klaatu? I don't know who Terry Draper from Klaatu is. Do I like Elton John? No, I don't like Elton John as a person. I don't mind Elton John's music, but I don't like him as a person. I can't stand the man. I think he's a gross, horrible, revolting, reprehensible piece of rubbish. But he's a very talented musician. I will give him that. Reginald, whatever he's called, is a very talented musician. Right, okay. What do I think of Freddie Mercury? Well, the man was a genius. He was an absolute star. But again, his music, I didn't mind it. It's just not it's not the top of my tree, but some of his music was fabulous. Well done him. He was a very talented person. But I don't say I love his music. He's not my thing. Michael Hutchence, bit loud for me, but he was all right. He did very well. Very well done him. And I loved Suede. They were very good as well. They were a bit loud as well. They were another loud band of that era. Well done to them. I liked them. Park Life, yes, I like that. That was quite fun. Right, okay. Cyndi Lauper. Right. I can't talk about her. Don't really know much about her, but I've heard of her. But I know. Right. Right. Can't say I know much about her, so can't answer your question. Sorry, just don't know. I can't know every piece of music on the planet. What did I think of Iron Maiden? A bit loud, I think, probably. I don't remember much about them either, so I can't really comment. When I say I can't comment, it's because I don't know. I can't be expected to know about every single band on the planet, can I? So, no, I didn't know. Leonard Cohen. Well, he was very talented, extremely talented. Well done, him. Very good man. Queen will always exist. You love how I'm honest. What do I think of Led Zeppelin? Well, Michael Jackson, I did meet. Michael Jackson, I met when he came to London. And Michael Jackson was a very charming person. In the same way many of these stars are, similarly to Johnny Depp, I find. Very quiet, unassuming. But I spend all the time with the monkey because I preferred the monkey. I wanted to meet the monkey. And, the other people in the party spent time with him doing the moonwalk. And I was just fascinated by the monkey because I love animals. So I love creatures. I love all sorts of things. So I found meeting the Bubbles, the monkey, was fascinating. And he was very childlike. And I think he was a very innocent man, and he was abused by his evil parents. His parents were monsters. And in the world, there are many people who have monstrous parents. Parents can be very bad people. They treat their children appallingly. I'm very lucky. I wasn't one of those people. I've never been I've had difficulties with my parents, of course, because my parents had multiple marriages, so it did make life a little complicated. But they didn't ever do anything bad to me. My parents never did a single bad thing to me. Michael Jackson's parents they beat the children to make them go to sing. So those poor children were abused children. They were abused before they even started. So did they know right from wrong? No. Those poor children are children who were abused. And yes, Michael Jackson made a fortune, but did he have a happy life? No, because he grew up in a weird, warped world as a result of his evil parents. His parents were manipulators, they were monsters, especially his father. His father was a monster. And that is why Michael Jackson became the way he was. And I remember when I was at school, there was a girl. She was obsessed with Michael Jackson and how wonderful he was. And we had some kind of debate. I don't know why we had this debate at this school. It was between the two schools. And we had a debate about Michael Jackson. I don't know why we had to have this debate, but I took her on. And she went on and on about how he wasn't a paedophile and he wasn't this and he wasn't that. And I said, well, the man's a monster. And, well, he was a monster, but I then subsequently met him, which was very bizarre. But honestly, it wasn't his fault. It was the fault of his father, who allowed him to be abused, and then he became an abuser himself. And he probably was an abuser, but he didn't know right from wrong, just like Ghislaine. But he shouldn't have been hanging babies out of windows, and he shouldn't have been doing this, and he shouldn't have been doing that, and he shouldn't have been doing the other. But his father shouldn't have done what he did to him. So it's no wonder he ended up warped of mind. So there we go. But I'm not excusing Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a disgrace, but then Michael Jackson was murdered by that doctor, and that doctor was a monster. So, Michael Jackson was a huge talent. He was an artistic talent. And I have to say, there are two sides to every story, and but he was an abused person who became an abuser himself, I would suspect. But I don't make apologies for his abuse if he did it. But I will say he was a very strange person. He was like a child. I found him a very odd person. But I was a young person myself. I was a child myself, so he did nothing to me. Don't mark my words. He didn't. Probably wouldn't want to, but he was not wicked. He was just odd. He was just a very odd person. That's how I felt. So I was a child at the time. So there you go. I did have experience of meeting him in London. So there you go. Okay, Janet Jackson. We didn't fancy me. Okay. Well, I'm glad he didn't, because I wouldn't have wanted any of that. So there we go. Cheers to that. Bubbles is still alive and at the sanctuary. Well, I'm glad to hear Bubbles is still alive, because I loved Bubbles when I met Bubbles. So I met Bubbles in Knightsbridge, actually. There we are. Right. What did I think about Heather Mills? Did Paul McCartney abuse her? Heather Mills is one of the most unpleasant women I've ever met in my entire life. She's a revolting, evil bitch. She's an evil, evil, nasty cow. I don't like her. So what happened with me and Heather Mills was we supported, through our business, a charity that was to do with Hyde Park, and taking old people around in buggies or something. And we gave 10 grand or something to this charity. So I just bought my first car, my second car, because I didn't have a car for a week, but I got rid of it. And I went to Portsmouth and I bought my Range Rover and I drove back to London in the snow. And I got there and I got to the Knightsbridge barracks and I got out and I crossed the road and there were all these paparazzi and they were taking pictures of this woman. I didn't know who she was. I hadn't got a bloody clue. Couldn't even tell you who she was. And she's going, "Get out of my way, leave me alone, and all this. And she's waving her arms around. And I said, "Madam, can I help you?" I said, "I'm coming into this event also." And she said, she grabbed me by the arm and she literally did. And I don't know whether I ended up in any picture with this bloody paparazzi. I don't know why I'm telling you the story, because now somebody might find this picture one day. That's a stupid thing if I've done. And we got inside and she said, "Oh, they harass me all the time. It's just so awful." And I said, "Oh, that's terrible. That's awful." And here we are. I said, "Oh, well, here we are." And we get into this lift because we have to go up to a first floor level or second floor level or whatever it is. And as we get out of the lift, she says, "Who are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm just the son of a farmer, a simple rural person, farming family. And we have a business that supports this charity." And she went, "You're the son of a farmer?" And I said, "What's your problem with that?" And she said, "Farmers are evil. You're animal massacrers." And I said, "Madam," I said, "you really have hit the wrong nail on the head here." And then we get out of the lift and there are more, the official paparazzi. Oh, so they start taking photographs. And she grabbed my arm and said, "Photo opportunity." And I said, "Get off me." I thought, you horrible, horrible woman. What a hypocrite. So that's what I think of Heather Mills McCartney. Heather Mills is the biggest hypocrite on the effing planet. She's a liar. She's a deceiver. She's not to be trusted. So, my neighbor in Lennox Gardens, I met him subsequently. He was engaged to be married to her before she ran off with Paul McCartney. He happened to be a very rich man as well. He was worth a few $100 million. He was an Italian, and he said, "Thank God I had the luckiest escape in history, getting rid of her. She is vile. She's one of the nastiest people on the planet." So there's my view on Heather Mills McCartney. She insulted my father, which wasn't a very nice thing to do. She's never met, because she doesn't like farmers and she doesn't like anybody rural or anything to do with that. So she can shove it up her fucking jumper, this silly bitch. I can't stand her. So well done for bringing her up. Okay, I don't know why you brought her up, just very random, but right, I don't know, we don't really talk about Heather. Peg leg Heather. She can bog off back to Peg Leg Land. Right, okay. Emu booted her out. Yeah, precisely. She's been booted out. Yeah, we love farmers. I love the farmers. Hayley Mills. Well, Hayley Mills is nothing to do with Heather Mills. No. You've got a different person, so you're getting a bit confused. Okay, right. Next question. Let's have a different question. Right, not Hayley Mills, no. I may get told off for calling her peg leg. Yeah, I know. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not woke. I'll say what I want. Have I ever spoken to Rory Stewart? Yes, of course I've spoken to Rory Stewart. I think Rory Stewart is fabulous. Rory Stewart adds positivity and wonderfulness to the nation. He is a delightful gentleman, and we need more Rory Stewarts in the Conservative Party and less Kemi Badenochs. Yeah, that's what I want. I'd like another Rory Stewart in the Conservative, but of course he won't come back because he can't under this current regime. You use far too many cliches all day, every day, says Bed Bivero. Do the rest of you agree? Do you think I use too many cliches? You don't like my cliches? Well, Bed Bivero, if you don't like my program, why don't you rod off? Why don't you sod off? And why don't you get off my fucking channel? You bog off. You're a pest and you're a petulant pain in the ass. Get off my channel. You're a moaning mini. Get off my program. I've heard enough from you. You're the weakest link. Goodbye. Get away. Can we please, whoever is the moderator on this program, ban that person? You are boring, you are incessant, and you're a nuisance because all you do is moan all the time. I see your comments all the time, and all you do is moan. So get off my channel. I don't want you here. I don't need you here, and I don't need any more of you. So bye-bye, bog off. Right, okay. Right, I'm sorry to the rest of you for the little rant, but that little one had to go. That one is a total nuisance, isn't it? It is so boring, person. It continually crops up saying the same thing again and again. And we don't need the boring comments from the boring person. So bog off to the boring person. Get off. Right, okay, yeah, right. Okay, well, it's lovely having the rest of you here. The rest of you are fabulous, and it's lovely to have people like Leslie and Mary and Expialidocious, Enigma, Jane O'Keefe, Steve R, Trevor, Lynn's, The Desolate One. Yes, well, we need to get rid of all these awful people, but there will always be a new one that comes up, or they'll use a new name. But let's just get that one out. That one needs to go. That one is particularly awful. So don't come back. Don't darken my door again. I don't want you back. Okay, and it's good to have a little rant because there we go. Have I met Shirley Bassey? Yes, of course I've met Shirley Bassey. My lovely friend, Liz Brewer. Mrs. Brewer is one of the best. She's the true trooper. She's an achiever. She's still working at the age of 80-something. I won't give her exact age away, but she is the most amazing lady, and I speak to her on the phone very often. I haven't seen her in a while, but what an amazing lady. You know, she was the PR for Ivana Trump. She launched all sorts of restaurants. She's just unbelievable. What an amazing lady. She's still working at that age. And her daughter Tallulah is superb. I love Tallulah. She's a singer. Her ex-husband who died sadly, rescued Christian the lion from Harrods and took it to Africa. What an amazing thing he did. And I love people like that, achievers. She's done so much. She was involved in the launch of PJ's in Chelsea, one of the best restaurants and my favorite restaurants in the world. And I go to all sorts of restaurants around the world. I've been to the French Laundry in California. I'm very lucky to have been to, the smartest restaurant in the world, and it was fabulous. But I'd rather go to PJ's. I'd rather have a Caesar salad at PJ's than go there, to be honest. But there we go. That's just me because I'm a simple man. But I have to say, Mrs. Brewer and Shirley Bassey, they're a great combination. And she calls it a dame. And the dame and her, they're a great duo. And I'm very lucky to have met Shirley Bassey through Liz Brewer. So, Mrs. Brewer, I salute you. You are the best. You're the best PR person I've ever come across. And I've met many PR people, and most of them are pretty rubbish. But you are tip top because you've been doing it for decades, and what a wonderful achievement. So we salute you, Liz Brewer. So there's my answer to your question about Dame Shirley Bassey, because Shirley Bassey's PR is Liz Brewer. So there we go. Right, okay. It's nothing to do with Julia Hart Brewer. No, nothing. You've got the wrong person. You've got confused. So don't bring her up. Julia Hartley Brewer is nothing to do with Liz Brewer. So you've got the wrong person. Julia Hartley Brewer is a nasty TV presenter, and I don't like her. So there we go. Nicola loves the Caesar salad at PJ's. Well, Nicola, one day soon we'll have a Caesar salad together at PJ's because I miss you very much, Nicola. And I hope you've made a full recovery. You are a lovely, lovely lady. And I absolutely adore you. And thank you for your support for all my events that I did. And we'll have more events in the future, hopefully soon, because that's what I need to do. And thank you, Nicola. And I hope you're making a full recovery. You've made a full recovery now, because you are a delightful, lovely lady. And we had a wonderful time in Broadstairs, and we had a wonderful time at PJ's. And Nicola, my best wishes for you. So there we are. Gavin Newsom dines at the French Laundry, says William Evans. Oh, good for Gavin, because Gavin is someone who I've known for many, many years. Gavin is governator. He's the governator of California. I know that you probably hate Gavin. Most people do hate Gavin, it seems now, but he was somebody who I enjoyed the company of when he was mayor of San Francisco. And I worked for the chief of Sky, the owner of Sky Volca. And Gavin's sister is a friend of mine. So I have no problem with Gavin. I think Gavin's a good man, and, at least he escaped that awful wife. So, she ran off with Donald Trump's son, and now they've split up. So, says something about that awful woman, doesn't it, really, more than it does about Gavin. Gavin has run the Californian economy, I think, quite well. I'm a fan of Gavin. Sorry. Not going to say anything else. I haven't spoken with him in a long time. He is working towards clemency for the Menendez brothers, and that is why I like Gavin. I tend to support people who help with the things that I want to do, and Gavin is helping. I have been campaigning for the Menendez brothers for over 10 years, and Gavin, as governor of California, is doing what we want. So let's say what I feel. I support Gavin because Gavin is supporting me and what I want. Oh dear. I'm biased. Yes, I'm a very biased person. But the Menendez brothers deserve to be free. And the Menendez brothers, it has been agreed, should have been paroled in 2016. So Gavin has to now work towards this clemency. And if we get the clemency, they're out of prison. What a wonderful thing. But they should have been out of prison in 2016. It's now agreed. It's time to let them out. We won. It took a long time, but we will win. I support them. And Robert Rand and Hazel Thornton, two wonderful people, have done wonderful work. And I entirely support these wonderful people. And I'm very, very much on the side of decency. The Menendez brothers were abused by mum and dad. They were both evil bastards. Well, he was an evil bastard, she was an evil bitch. And let's be honest, they shouldn't have shot their parents. They admit they shouldn't have shot their parents. Their crime should have been manslaughter, not murder. But those parents, they sexually abused their children, both of them. Both of them. They were both wicked, evil people. The Menendez deserve to be free. And the resentencing hearing said parole should have been 2016. So they've been kept in prison too many years. It's 2025. Let them out. Get them out now. So come on, Gavin. Gavin, if you're listening to me, because, you do listen to me occasionally, I know this, and I like you, Gavin. And most people on this channel hate you, Gavin, obviously, because most people hate Gavin. The Gavinator, as I call you. Come on, Gavin. Please let them out. Get on with it. Get on with the clemency. Try and speed it up. If you could do that, that would be a good thing, because it would make you look better electorally. I think it's time for you to do something good, Gavin. You probably not. You can't. I realize in physical terms you probably can't, but try and change the rules, Gavin. Because, Gavin, you've got power. You could be the next president of America, Gavin. You've got the capability. You've got everything behind you. My friends who, we have mutual friends, they all believe in you. Come on, Gavin. Pull yourself together and get them out. Get the Menendez out. And Kim Kardashian is supporting them. Everybody. We're all supporting. But I've been supporting for over 10 years. And you know this. And I have bombarded you for 10 years. And, I realize politically you did not want to touch this because it was a hot political potato, and you didn't want to support the rich parent murderers. But the law has now changed because they should have been paroled in 2016. So bring it on. Come on, Gavin. Gavin, I'm saying this to you through this channel. You think Gavin is the slime ball of the year? Right. Yeah, pull your finger out, Gavin. I agree with you. Thank you for supporting me, all of this audience. And Gavin does occasionally interact, but not very often. Not very often. But if Gavin will interact, really, we need Gavin. Come on, Gavin, interact. I will write to your sister because I do have connection with your sister from time to time. And I'm going to ask her to pass on a message to you. That's how I will do this. So I will write to Gavin's sister. I've known the Newsom family for half of my life. So I will write to the family and ask them to pass on a message to you, Gavin, because Gavin, it's time you did something to help Eric and Lyle. Eric and Lyle should have been paroled in 2016. They shouldn't be in prison. So let's get Eric and Lyle out of prison. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write to your sister. That's what I shall do today. I will write to Hillary, Hillary Newsom, and I will ask her to pass on a message to you, actually, Gavin, because that's the only way I think you might listen. So look out for a message from your sister, and whether she passes it on or not, she may choose to block me and say she's had enough of me. But Hillary's a lovely lady, and I love her husband, and we've always been good friends. So, I want you as governor of California to use your right to give those two brothers clemency, which you can do. You're allowed to do. So let's get on with it. Let's speed it up. Let's speed up the process and make yourself popular. Because if you want to be president, Gavin, because you are aiming to be president, it's very clear. You've been mayor of San Francisco. You've been governor of California. So your next aim, obviously, is president. So, well, come on. Man up, grow up, and show us the coffee beans. We want to see the Menendez released from prison, and you can do it. You have the power. You can give them clemency, and they should have been paroled in 2016 under the new sentencing. So let them out now. That's what I want you to do. Now, I know you won't do this because there will be all sorts of judicial problems with that awful judge who is a complete nightmare. So I won't blame you for that, but you could at least try. And you could at least stand up and say, I think these people should be let out of prison. That's what I'd like to hear from you. So come on, Gavin. And I'll write to Hillary, and I will say this tomorrow morning when I use my computer. I will try and write her a little note, and I will say exactly that. So can you please do the right thing, Gavin? So I'm appealing to you through my huge channel. My channel is not that huge. I'm not that big. I'm a tiny, tiny, tiny channel. Don't you agree, viewers, that we should get Gavin to give the Menendez brothers clemency? Yes. Do you agree with me that they should be given clemency? Jane O'Keefe says yes. Okay, well, we've got one person saying yes. Okay, straight away. Sebastian says no, they killed their parents. Their parents abused them. They sexually abused them, and they treated them in the most disgusting fashion. That's wrong. Totally disagree with you. There we are. But they shouldn't have killed their parents, but they should have been convicted of manslaughter, not murder, because they did not commit a murder. They defended themselves against two monstrous people. So you've got it completely wrong. You're a complete right. Okay, you're all. Some of you don't agree. Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, right. Okay. They should have left home. I don't think you understand the story. I think you ought to read the story. I think you got it completely wrong. Oh, you think it was murder? Oh, well, there you are. Well, you're entitled to your views, whoever you lot are, but I think the majority of sane people out there agree with me. The Menendez brothers were victims of parental abuse. They should not have been abused by mum and dad. The mother said, I would rather my children were abused than I be abused. What a lovely mother that was. She didn't like being abused herself, so she traded in her children. What a disgusting, filthy woman she was. And that's what she did. 61 people came forward at the first criminal case to speak on behalf of the Menendez family. I'm not speaking from any notes here. I have no notes because I know so much about this case because I've been involved in it for 10 years. 61 people connected to the family came forward and said, we understand the fact that those two boys were abused by mum and dad. 61. Why was that not convincing? Because the court did not want those people to be heard because of the Rodney King riot case, the O.J. Simpson case, and because they were two posh white boys from Beverly Hills. So they were thrown under the bus in the second case. Not one of them was heard. 61 witnesses were not properly heard. And that is a shameful disgrace. And this is why, all the family members, there's only 2 family members who came forward who said, oh, no, we want them convicted. We want the death penalty for them. There were 2 of them. The rest supported them. They said that man was evil, particularly him. Not particularly her, less so, but she was evil, without a doubt. She's another weirdo. But he also abused these Menendez brothers, the Menendez brothers, who were these singers. He abused them. So it's the record there, and he was violent, and he was nasty, and he was evil. And I support the Menendez brothers, and yes, they spent millions of dollars after their parents were dead, says Leslie. Well, they didn't spend millions of dollars at all. They spent a few $100,000. People react to grief in a different way to one another. Okay, they shouldn't have done what they did, and now they admit that what they did was wrong, but they should have been convicted of manslaughter and not murder. But they cope with the grief of the situation by buying a few watches. So what? It doesn't really matter. Not the end of the world. Right. Why didn't they call 911? Well, they'd shot their parents. Why would you call 911? They did call 911, yes. Ultimately, yes. They did call 911. They did tell a lie, and they shouldn't have lied. But that does not mean that they were guilty of murder. They were guilty of manslaughter because they had been sexually abused by mother and father. So it's a different type of crime. They were criminals, yes. I totally agree they were criminals. They should have served a sentence, but their sentence should have ended in 2016. There you go. The parents were monsters. The parents were the monsters. If they had been girls, everybody would have said, oh, poor them. Oh, let them off. Because they were male and they'd been sexually abused, nobody at that time accepted males could be sexually abused. Males can be sexually abused. Sexual abuse of men is just as bad as sexual abuse of women. So they were abused. They are victims of abuse. And that is a very important part of this story. And that is where this is mad. Right. The mother was an alcoholic, precisely, Robert Tideman. She was also a drug addict. She was a dreadful person. She hated her children. She wished her children were dead. She always went on and on about all of this. She was just a rich bitch, basically. She had nothing better to do with her life than hate everybody. And she was unhappy, and her husband hated her. And, you know, she might have lived in a very fancy house, but it didn't mean she was a nice woman, did it? Many women are imprisoned for offing their abusers. It's nothing to do with women offing their abusers. These two boys killed their parents because their parents said they were going to kill them, and they were scared. So they thought, well, we'll kill them. And that was how it worked out in the end. That was how the whole thing worked out. They took them out on a fishing boat, and they were expecting to die on the fishing boat. And the fishing boat had to suddenly turn around. And at that point, they realized that the next time there was no more, basically, I think. So they just did what they did. And that wasn't it was an incorrect thing to do, of course. I do not excuse their crimes. They committed a serious crime, and they should have been kept in prison for manslaughter, and they should have been let out in 2016. That is now what the courts have confirmed. So they should not be out in prison right now. I support the Menendez brothers' right to freedom. As do the majority of their family. I think the two people who didn't support it are probably dead or gone or shut up. But there were 61 people who gave evidence to say that they were abused by mum and dad at the first trial. And nobody listened because nobody cared, because it was two men saying they were abused, and everyone just thought men can't be abused by anybody because it was the era that it happened. You know, it's 1996. It's a long time ago. People didn't believe that men could be abused. Men couldn't be raped. Well, yeah, men can be raped too, as much as women can be raped. So the Menendez were let down by the system because they were posh, white boys. And it's shameful what happened to them. And I've been campaigning for justice for the Menendez for 10 years. I'm very glad to be part of the campaign for them. And, you know, they should have been paroled in 2016. That's already been agreed. So let them out now. Get them out. Get them out of that prison now. That's what I say. Time to let them out, because parole should have occurred in 2016. Let them go. Come on, Gavin. Man up, grow up, and show up. I want you to do some work. Thank you. But you won't do any work because I know you've got other priorities. You want to be president, so you don't want to rock the boat, do you? But Kim Kardashian is supporting them, so maybe she might help. So come on, Kim. I don't know much about you, Kim Kardashian, but well done to you for supporting them. So thank you, Kim Kardashian. And well done to this wonderful man, Robert Rand, who I've known for many, many years, and Heather Thornley, who was on the jury in the first case. Heather, you are a lovely lady and you've worked so hard. You're getting there. And I feel the same with Jeremy Bamber. So to the Jeremy Bamber campaign, who've had a successful meeting yesterday, well done to you. You've all done very well and brilliant work, and keep campaigning. Don't ever shut up. Always rock the boat. Always shout. That's what I do. I don't care. I don't care if anybody hates me. It doesn't matter. Always stand up for justice. Justice is the best thing in the world. Get justice for the people who've got injustice, because there are so many people out there who don't have the ability that you or I have to speak because they're locked up. Speak up and support them. So I speak up for Mark Alexander, a wonderful man who needs to get our help, Luke Mitchell, Omar Benguit, the Menendez brothers in America. I don't mean to miss out anybody, but I probably will. All of you people suffering injustice, it is time to get justice for you, because you don't belong in prison. You people are innocent, and I know this because I've researched your cases very thoroughly, and I don't support people who I don't believe in. And I am a loyal supporter of the cases I support. And I spend so many hours looking into these cases, and it is time that we get justice for these people. So there we are. What do I think of the Sue Long campaign? I don't know. I do not support Lucy Letby, no. I certainly will never be supporting Lucy Letby, no. Lucy Letby to me is anathema. She's not my kind of case, no. And let's not go there, because I don't like the woman and I don't support her. So no, please don't ask me about Lucy Letby. That's ridiculous. Right, okay. You keep saying this Sue Long campaign is very important. Well, please email me at editorial@thesteepletimes.com. I can read your information, but I don't know about the case, so I cannot comment until I read the information. You're all going free Sue Long. I don't know who Sue Long is. I'm very sorry. I don't know anything about the case, so I can't know everything about every case on the planet. But I pick my cases very carefully, and my cases particularly are Omar Benguit, who I support hugely, and Mark Alexander via Terry Waite, and obviously the Menendez brothers, and obviously Jeremy Bamber. They are the ones I support primarily, because I know a lot about those cases. I cannot support a case without knowing full information, so I'm afraid I don't know anything about that. Will I look at the Derek Chauvin case? I don't know what the Derek Chauvin case is. Again, I say the same thing to you. I don't know enough about these matters. You have to send me the information. I can't answer questions about a case that I don't know anything about. It's absolutely impossible to talk about something without having researched it. I'm very sorry. I will not be doing that. So there we are. Sue Long, who was booted off the chat. Okay. Oh, how ridiculous. Oh, for goodness sakes. I've realised that's now a joke, but no, she won't be coming back. No. Bye bye to Sue Long. Okay. No second chances for Sue. No. Sue will not be getting a second chance on this channel. She can rod off, fuck off, shove it up her effing jumper. I don't want her back. No. Sue Long. But she'll come back under another name because that's what these trolls tend to do. And we all know what the trolls tend to do. So, Sue Long, her name was probably a giveaway, wasn't it? Sorry. I'm very thick. I don't really think about such things, do I? So I didn't think about her stupid name. But anyway, Sue Long, go away, Sue Long. Right, okay. No, we don't need Sue Long. You can clear off and shove it up your jumper. Right, next one. Next question. Right, I don't need any more questions about Sue Long because Sue Long is gone. Have I ever met Ken Clark? Of course I met Ken Clark. I worked for Ken Clark. He was a wonderful man, absolutely fabulous. I worked on his leadership campaign against Ian Duncan Smith. I think he was a fabulous man, absolutely great. Ken was the kind of politician this country needs now. We need more Ken Clarks. We need less of the Kemi Badenochs. The Conservative Party needs Ken Clark. It doesn't need Kemi Badenoch. That's what I say. So bring back Ken Clark. Have I met Elon Musk? No, never met Elon Musk. Don't know anything about him, but he seems a bit bonkers. Not my kind of person. Right. It all went Pete Tong for Sue Long. Yeah, it did. It's a good rhyming slang. Yeah, it could be a good Eminem hit, couldn't it? Right. What did I think of Elon Musk's black eye in the Oval Office? Well, he claims his son hit him in the face. I don't know. It could be true. Could be a load of old crap, couldn't it? Have I ever met Donald Trump? No, I've never met Donald Trump. I knew Ivana. I've met Ivanka. I've met some of the other children. I liked Ivana. I thought Ivana was a lovely lady, very nice. I only met her a couple of times, but she lived in Pont Street in Knightsbridge when she was in London, and obviously Liz Brewer was her PR, and she was a nice lady. I thought she was very charming. Yeah, Ivanka, very pleasant also. I found her very pleasant. Nothing wrong with her. But I don't know Donald Trump. No, I've never met him. And I've never met Melania, who I believe to be an associate of, Jeffrey and Ghislaine. So there we are. Right, okay. So did I meet Kimberly Guilfoyle Trump? Well, Kimberly, obviously, I did meet because Kimberly was married to Gavin. And Gavin, obviously, I knew quite well because I know the Newsom family quite well. And before she married into the Trump family, she was married to the Newsom family. So I had a dinner with her on several occasions in San Francisco. So I have met Kimberly. Kimberly is a revolting, disgusting, gross person. I didn't like her. No. But I don't think anyone likes her. She's a revolting person. So there we go. Okay, right. Okay, right. Well, I think it's time we move on and have a quiz. Let's have a quiz. I think that's what we need to do before I go to bed because I just need to have a rest tonight. And There we are. So if we want to have a quiz, we'll do it now. And I hope that this is not a quiz that I've done before, because I have mixed up some of the pages because we had guests coming. I moved all the pages around, and I've hopefully not mixed up all the pages. So if I have mixed up the pages, tell me immediately, and I'll tick off the page and we'll start a new quiz. Okay, how many roles does Alec Guinness play in Kind Hearts and Coronets? Steve R says 8. And Steve R is correct. Steve R. Of course, Kind Hearts and Coronets is one of my favorite ever films. I have many favorite films. Well, I love The Remains of the Day, for example. So it's not that I have favorites. It's a witty satire. It's ruthless. Louis Mazzini, the Ninth Duke of Chalfont, directed by Robert Hammer, murder Ealing comedy, and Alec Guinness playing 8 roles. What more could you dream of? It's such a beautiful black and white film. It gives great pleasure to people's lives, and it's a fabulous, as Matt Grant says, cracking actor. Absolutely. Leslie S., such a great movie. It was a blast. Yeah, precisely. Your fandom for this film is only unsurpassed by mine. So, we love the film. So if you haven't watched Kind Hearts and Coronets, go and get yourself a DVD or whatever way you can watch it. I don't know. Buy it on the Netflix or the Amazon Prime, or I don't know how people buy things like this anymore. But my great joy was in Notting Hill. I went to we sponsored a party for some fancy thing. It was some kind of film thing, and everybody got given mobile phones at the end, and I got 20 boxes of these hugely expensive mobile phones because we paid for all the alcohol as the company, and I got to watch it on the big screen, and that was the nicest thing ever. But if you can watch it on your little television, Kind Hearts and Coronets, it's the most wonderful film to watch. I watched it on a big screen, which the original way, obviously, the people watched it in whatever year it was made. And please go watch that film. Okay. With which sport is De Haan van der Meer associated? De Haan van der Meer. It is not horse racing. It's not golf. It's not sumo. It's not F1. Matt Grant gets the point. Well done to Matt Grant. It is rugby. Well done to Matt Grant. Matt Grant gets the point. It is rugby. Rugby union. He is from the Edinburgh team. He's back 3. He's caps Lions 3, Test 52 as of May 2025. So there we go. Okay, next question. In which county is the 2019 comedy film Fisherman's Friends primarily set? Fisherman's Friends. It's not Essex, it's not Sussex, it's not Berkshire, it's not Kent. It's not Broadstairs. No. Matt Grant gets a second point with Cornwall. Well done to Matt Grant. Okay, what did the British climber Alison Hargreaves achieve on the 13th of May 1995? And Alison was a great friend of my father, so we love Alison. She's a lovely lady. Alison was a huge achiever and did a lot of good for the world. She climbed Mount Everest. Joyce Grove, I suppose you said Everest first. Okay, well, I'll allow Joyce to have the point because you said Everest. She was the first lady to climb Everest without oxygen or the help of Sherpas. And she was a great friend of my father, who was very into climbing mountains also. He didn't climb any mountains of the significance of her, but he was a good friend of hers from Derbyshire, where they both came from. So there we go. With what type of activity is the TV presenter George Clark associated? George Clark. Matt Grant can have a third point. Houses, I suppose. House renovations, architecture, Channel 4. If you're wearing in Cockney rhyming slang a whistle and flute, what would you be wearing? What would you be wearing if you were wearing a whistle and flute? Miss Marple gets it. Miss Marple, a new entrant to the quiz, but Miss Marple is a regular entrant to this quiz. Of course, it's a suit. If you're wearing a whistle and flute, you're wearing a suit. So, right, what do Americans refer to newsreaders as? What is in America, what is a newsreader called? It's not a presenter, it's not an anchor, no, it's not a host, it's not a wanker. TMTB gets it, TMTB. Knew it. Yeah, you get 1 point. It's a newscaster. That's what they called them. They called them newscasters. What has nicknames including the Shriek, the Screamer, and the Gasper? The Shriek, the Screamer, and the Gasper. It's not paintings. It's not fireworks. It's not boats. It's not gin. It's not Lady Min. It's not guitar pedals. It's not paintings. It's not dogging sites. It's not trains. It's not Kim Kardashian. It's not cocktails. It's not me. It's not OHHG. I don't know what that means. It's not our roller coaster. It's not the Van Gogh painting. The Shriek, the Screamer, and the Gasper. No. It's not bespoke bicycles. It's not the roller coaster. It's not testicles. It's not boats. It's not Claire Mandel. It's not mountains. It's not Anthea Turner. It's not films. It's not fireworks. It's not Claire Mandel. Claire Mandel seems to come up an awful lot in this quiz because she's such a ghastly person. You know, she's worse than the wind. Yes, Fergie's growler. Yes. Claire Mandel is worse than Fergie. Okay, it's not Janet Evans, it's not cocktails, it's not cricket, it's not Kama Sutra, it's not a nightclub, it's not Janet Evans pubs. Right, it's not Cliff Richard. No, it's not Claire Mandel's generosity. It's not nightclubs, no. It's not a train, it's not Dubai, it's not Dusty Crack. I don't know what that is. It's not sweet potatoes. It's not plants. Okay, you're not doing very well on this one. It's not cucumbers. It's not Mike Hunt. It's not Fergie. I think we'll give you 0 points awarded. Of course, the answer to the question is something completely different. The Shriek, the Screamer, and the Gasper is a description of what is called an exclamation mark. I don't like exclamation marks myself, but that is the nicknames given to the exclamation mark. So you've all failed. You are all the weakest links. Goodbye on that one. So you've all failed. So 0 points awarded. Okay. In which year did Gambino criminals Dominic Montigiglio and Anthony Shotto both die? The two criminals. Which year? No. Miss Marple gets a point. Miss Marple gets a second point. Well done. It was 2021. Okay. In which year did the Coronation Street actor who played Butcher Fred Elliott, John Savidant, die? He was bald, brash, chubby, and eccentric. Probably a little bit, you know. No. Which year did he die? It wasn't 2004, no. No, it wasn't 2020. It wasn't 2019. He was probably still in the program back then. I don't know. I don't watch the program, but you like to have a bit of Coronation Street and EastEnders type question. Steve R gets the point. Well done, Steve. Steve R. 1 point to you, Steve R. It's 2024. Right. Okay. Where did the mucky madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, first meet Virginia Roberts in mid-2000? Where did she first meet Ghislaine? Where did Nasty Ghislaine meet poor Virginia? It wasn't Newcastle. It wasn't Tramps. No. It wasn't London. No. Leslie S. gets it with Mar-a-Lago. Well done to Leslie S. We did have someone say Largo, but we have to have the correct answer in full. From now on in my quiz, I keep saying this, we have to have the full answer or no answer. So Leslie S. gets the point. Leslie S. gets the point. Okay. Obviously, her father, Sky Roberts, was a maintenance manager there. He was an attendant, and he introduced them to Epstein, Randy Andy, and Donald Trump. Lovely situation that, wasn't it? And it's all ended with the poor suicide of the poor Virginia. And I feel very, very sorry for Virginia's children. So that's who I feel sorry for. I don't feel sorry for Ghislaine or Trump or Epstein or Maxwell or any of these. Well, Epstein doesn't really matter because he's brown bread. Thank God that little rat's dead. But, it would have been better he was kept alive and he could have answered some questions, in my view. But there we go. He was murdered, in my view. Okay. What are the Christian names of the vile, misogynistic Tate brothers? What are the two? And I need both names. I need the names of the two brothers. I will only accept the people who give both. Okay, Matt Grant is immediately answering. So you got a 4 point, Matt Grant. You're well in the lead. It's obviously Andrew and Tristan. Okay, right. Going back to something a little bit more civilized, approximately what percentage of corks are tainted with TCA, which is 2,4,6 trichloronuracil? It smells of the wet dog. It's the damp basement. It's foul. What percentage of corks? Right. Okay. And I will accept a low answer or a high answer. It's not 2%, but you're close. It's not 53%. No, you're far off. That's too much. Well, Miss Marple can have the point. It's 3%, 3%, 3 to 8%. So I'll accept Miss Marple. You were the first to get the correct starting point. So there we go. We'll allow you to have it because you got you put a cork in it. So you put a cork in it. Okay, how many owners did the racehorse Motivator have when he won the Derby in 2005? The racehorse, it's more than any in the Derby winning history, the Midland Park Syndicate. It wasn't 5, it wasn't 6, it wasn't 26. No, it wasn't 21. Audrey gets it. Well done, Audrey. Audrey, a new entrant. It was 230. Well done to Audrey. 230 people owned the racehorse, which is a unique first. I don't know how much money they won between them, because I haven't got the note. I should have made the note of that, shouldn't I? Anyway, how many days did the Princess Gate Embassy siege last in 1980? How many days did it last? It wasn't 5, it wasn't 32. Miss Marple gets the point. So Miss Marple is now in joint first. Well done, Miss Marple. It was 6 days. Ended on the 5th of May, the rescue of 19 hostages, 6 gunmen. Obviously, there was PC Trevor Locke, the hero. Operation Nimrod, SAS assault. So, that's what went on. Right, okay. Who was the painter of weaving a chain of grief? Who was the painter of weaving a chain of grief? It wasn't Picasso. It wasn't Janet Evans. It wasn't Tampax. It wasn't Rolf Harris. It wasn't Claire Mandel. No. Claire Mandel does come up a bit too often. It wasn't Van Gogh. No. We have a correct answer from Audrey, who gets a second point. Of course, it was Frank Bramley. He was one of the Newland School. He drowned his lover and he was at sea. And there we are. It was a very unfortunate painting. And Margaret Thatcher had it installed in her Downing Street study. I don't think Margaret actually knew what the painting was about, so it's a very unfortunate painting to be associated with. But everything I've read about this painting is very bad, and I didn't like it. So there we go. Okay. Of which school was Claude Eliot provost? Claude Eliot, which school was he provost? Matt Grant gets a 5th point, which takes you back into the lead, Matt Grant. Of course, it was Eton. He described the teaching of English as genes and homosexuality. He didn't like teaching English. Okay, as of 2025, what is the Spectator columnist Susanna Gross associated? Susanna Gross of the Spectator. What is she associated with? It's not golf, and it's not gossip, it's not dogging, it's not racing, it's not Donald Trump, it's not music, it's not sport, it's not the Tory party, it's not women, it's not food, it's not the Mail on Sunday. It's to do with the Spectator, but it's, well, obviously she's to do with the Spectator because she works. The question has asked that already, so that's a stupid answer. Absolutely stupid answer. It's not fashion. It's not music. It's not cooking. It's not politics. She's not a cartoonist. She's not fashion. She's not horses. She's not the stock market. She's not music. She's not the literary editor. She's not binoculars. She's not Gaza. She's not art. She's not property. She's not cars. No. She's not a critic. Oh dear. You're all rather useless on this. Baboonery, stock market, page 3, advertising, political. She's not an agony aunt. Claire Mandel. Oh God. Everything has to come back to Claire fucking Mandel, doesn't it? Claire Mandel ruins this channel now. Now we've even mentioned this dreadful woman. Yeah, you're useless. You are as much use as a chocolate teapot. Right, okay. Another question where you've all failed. 0 points awarded. She is the bridge columnist for The Spectator, so you've missed a point on that one. And, right. Who wrote... This is your penultimate question. Who wrote books about, and I can't stand this woman. She makes me very angry. This is another one I can't stand. Disgusting woman. Who wrote books about both the Pottery Cottage and White House Farm murders. Who wrote the books? It wasn't Cilla Black. No. It wasn't Sue Long. It wasn't Fergay. It wasn't Agatha Christie. It wasn't J.K. Rowling. I love J.K. Rowling. I think she's fabulous. It wasn't Claire Mandel, and it wasn't Simon Coates. It wasn't Fern Britton. Leave Fern Britton alone. She's a lovely person. I love Fern Britton. It wasn't Enid Blyton. No, it's got nothing to do with her. It wasn't Jackie Collins, and she's another lovely lady. I liked her. It wasn't Katie Price, as much as I love her. It wasn't Diane Abbott. It wasn't Carol Vorderman or Judy Finnegan. Oh, my God. You think she could write a book? Oh, my God. Sarah Burton gets the point. Well done, Sarah. Well done. Sarah Burton is actually being sensible, unlike the rest of you. Of course, it was Carol Ann Lee, a woman responsible for highly inaccurate a barrel of bilge. That's all she ever writes. And we don't like Carol Ann. Carol Ann, you are one of the most stupid people I've ever come across. So I don't like you, Carol Ann. You're entitled to write whatever you want, Carol Ann. But I think you write a load of old shit. Jeremy Bamber is innocent and you should leave him alone. And your Pottery Cottage murder books, my father said it was a load of old nonsense. And my father knows an awful lot about that area of England. So you really are talking a load of old rot on 2 topics, you silly woman. So I hope to meet you again, Carol Ann, so I can tell you to your face yet again what a silly load of old rot that you talk. You are a stupid woman, Carol Ann Lee. I cannot stand Carol Ann Lee. There we go. So there you go. Maybe I should read it myself and see what I think. I have read Carol Ann Lee's books, yes. And I also know about Carol Ann Lee's topics because I have connections to both books and the people involved in them. So I have actually read her books. Her books are a load of rubbish. Her research is appallingly badly done. I don't like Carol Ann Lee's work. I think it's terrible. And the fact that ITV picked up on that stupid nonsense thing and did what they did, shame on them. Because when Jeremy is cleared, they're going to regret this. ITV will regret this for getting involved with that stupid, stupid woman because she is a moron, she's a maniac, and she's an idiot because she didn't even bother to do proper research. She didn't even bother to allow Freddie Fox, for example. She he could have gone and met Jeremy. If you're going to play somebody and you have the opportunity to meet the person you could play, you'll go and meet them, because then you can play them properly. Even if you don't like them, you can go and meet them for half an hour and have an interaction. That is the stupidity of that ITV White House farm. Shame on them. Shame on that Freddie Fox. What a piece of rubbish he is. I can't stand people like that. You know, he could have played Jeremy in any way he wanted. He didn't need to change the way he played him. He could have just gone and met him, but he could have gone. He was given the opportunity, but he didn't want to do it because he's a cowardly custard. Pathetic, pathetic little rat you are, Freddie Fox. I don't like you either. But I really dislike you, Carol Ann Lee. Carol Ann Lee, you know, my grandparents, they said everything about your book was a load of rubbish. And they lived in Derbyshire, and they know about your Pottery Cottage murder book. We're not talking about Jeremy Bamber, we're talking about Pottery Cottage now. Pottery Cottage murder. No, everybody in that area was like, this doesn't make sense. And your stupid book is a load of old rot. Another load of old rot. So, Carol Ann, I can't stand people who've got silly names like that. Carol Ann. Go away, you stupid woman. Anyway, you are awful. And I look forward to meeting you again, because I met you at that crime conference and I told you there what I thought about you. And I will tell you again the next time I meet you, if I ever do, which probably is, I don't know, could be possible. I'm not a fan. What do you viewers think of Carol Ann Lee? Do you like Carol Ann Lee and her White House Farm crap book and her Pottery Cottage crap book? Do you like her crap books? Because I don't like her books. Her books are full of lies, and I don't like books that tell lies. I really don't like people who tell lies. And what do you think of her? She's a lovely woman, says SS Racing. Okay, right, you've got one fan. Okay, right. She's rather twee. Her bad books, and they suck, says TMTB. Thank you, TMTB. I agree with you. Right. She's a charlatan, says Adam. Yes, I agree with you. I've never heard of her. So she's not that well known, actually. We've got a mixture. She's got the voice of Borat. She's fit. Oh. You find her sexy? Oh my God. Right. I wouldn't read her trash. I agree with you. Never heard of her. Right. So she belongs in Poltergeist. Okay. We've got a mixture of opinions, but most of them are negative. So thank you. Her bottom resembles a beach ball. I don't know how that relates to the story, but that's not very nice. But you don't need to say that. But she's an awful person. Her pages are for emergency toilet paper. Well, you know I don't like the word toilet. I think the word toilet is naff. But yeah, okay, you can use her for bog roll. Okay, there we are. Anyone Matthew doesn't like, I tend to adore. Well, there you go. You love her. So there we are. She looks like Bruce Lee. Oh, well, that's interesting. She looks like bog roll. Oh, well. Right. Well, we haven't finished our quiz, have we? So we have one more quiz question, but we are rather focused on Carol Ann. With which sport is Sean Bowen associated? Miss Marple gets the point. So now we have, we have a tiebreaker. Oh dear. Right, now I have to think of another question. Oops, I did it again. I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, right, let me look at some... No, that's not going to help me. This could help me, because it might have something on the bottle. Okay, so to which whiskey company was the first royal warrant awarded for J&B? Which whiskey company got the first royal warrant? Which king gave the first royal warrant to J&B? Just an easy question because I've got the bottle in front of me. It wasn't Claire Mandel. She couldn't even give a bus ticket to anyone in Pimlico. It was George, yes, but which George? We need the exact George. It wasn't Charles, no. It wasn't George IV, no. No. Matt Grant gets the point. So Matt Grant is the winner. Well done to Matt Grant. You are the winner. It's George III. So there's the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner to you. So we keep going with you. There we go. So our winner tonight is Matt Grant, with Miss Marple coming second. So thank you to you all for joining in the quiz, and let's carry on with some questions. Let's have a few more questions. Have we got some more questions to go? Right, question time. And now I can tick this quiz off and put it in the bin. Yes. Have I ever had a perm? No. Can't say I have. Should a crime of passion be written into law? Not really, no. I don't think so. Have I ever been to Arkansas? No. I've been to Texas, but I've never been to Arkansas, no. I like Texas very much. Fabulous place. But what's my favorite dance? I don't know. As I've said, I like all sorts of music. I love music. I love everything from Eminem to the Wu-Tang Clan to Beethoven and Edward Elgar. So I like a bit of mix. Do I like Fiona Bruce? I think Fiona Bruce is a wonderful lady. I prefer Kirsty War. I enjoyed listening to her on the radio this morning. She was fabulous. Absolutely great. Do I think Starmer will last much longer? Well, of course Starmer will last. Starmer doesn't have any reason to leave. Why would Starmer leave? Starmer has a huge majority. He doesn't need to leave. He will dispose of Rachel Reeves, the Queen of Thieves, because she will have to go, because she's causing too much upset. And Raving Raina will continue to cause trouble. She will be a troublemaker, but I don't think he can get rid of her. So I think she'll stick around. Have I ever met Kenny Everett? No, I've never met Kenny Everett. No. Right. Okay. Next one. Can I dance a polonaise? I don't know what a polonaise is, so I don't believe I've danced a polonaise. No. Right. You find Rachel Reeves attractive. Okay. Well, you must be in a minority. Do I have socialist friends? Um, most probably I do. Yes, I have a mixture of friends. So there we are. Can I cook a bolognese? Yes, I cook bolognese often. Have you ever farted in a lift? That's a very strange question. I don't recall doing such, but it could have happened. I don't know. Right. Have I ever grown a moustache? No, I've never grown a moustache. No. Right. Do I have a ghost? I believe in ghosts, yes, but I don't have a ghost in my life at the moment. I have all sorts of other problems in my life, but it's not a ghost. No. If you walked out of an audience of all of us, what would I say? Well, I'd say thank you very much for attending. That's very kind of you to attend. Very generous, and thank you for your support. But why would I walk out if you were all attending? I don't know. I don't understand. There we are. Have I ever eaten nachos? Yes, I have. I think they're lovely. I quite enjoy those. Lovely. Right. Would I wear a mankini? No, not my kind of thing. What do I think of men wearing dresses? I think that's fucking stupid. So, but if they want to, good for them. Let them do what they want. Oh, it's a bit stupid. If my nose was on strike, would I pick it? I don't know what that means. So I don't get that question. Do I dip my fish fingers in anything? No, I have a fish finger sandwich and I have a rosemary sauce, which obviously is very pleasant. Oh. There we go. The question of the mention of £20. I don't know what £20. I only get to see certain questions. I don't know. I don't understand all these processes of who gives what. But thank you very much to Matt Grant. If you gave me £20, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. I don't understand how the process of all this works, so I don't get to see it all because everything comes in at different speeds on these chat things because it says top chat, live chat, all the rest. It does not. The bank, as for the bank, no, the bank goes to the person who deals with all of this for me because I don't know how to deal with it. I've no idea. So I'm not very good at all of this, but it's very difficult. Anyway. I don't understand the process of how it works. So it would be useful to have somebody who actually helped me deal with this, because the person who currently helps me doesn't really explain to me how it works, because I don't understand, because I don't know. I have no idea how it works. I'm not a tech person. I just do everything myself privately. But thank you very much to Matt Grant, because if that's the case, I'm very sorry I didn't thank you directly, because I should have thanked you, shouldn't I? But I didn't, because I don't really understand the technicalities of this process, and how it works. But I did thank the lady who twice tonight who appeared, because she appeared. And when people appear, I do thank them. So there we go. Anyway, I have monetized the channel, but I don't really know how it works. So I don't really know quite how. I don't have any understanding of this. Anyway, I shall be going to bed myself soon. Do I like Faith Brown or Janet Brown? I don't know. Would I do OnlyFans? I don't think. No, there's no need for that. Do I like Paloma Faith? No, I can't say I like her music. Not really my kind of thing. Do I get money for the ads that appear? Supposedly I do, yes. Allegedly. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, right, okay. Have I ever met Lewis Hamilton? No, I've never met Lewis Hamilton. Have I got any support with a certain someone? No, sadly not. Anyway, I shall be going to bed in a moment. I think it's probably a good idea. I think that's about time. We've done 3 hours of this program, and that's enough. I'm quite tired, and I'm ready to go to sleep. So that's that. I really need to go and get some rest and work out what I'm going to do next with my life, to be honest. That's my next part of my plan. So, thank you to all the nice people who've supported me. You've been very, very kind, but you've kept me going this evening, actually. And now it's time for me to say good night and thank you. So, have a lovely evening and take care. And it's time for me to go to bed. Okay. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye. Pip, pip, and good gardening, and have a lovely night.